The ocean holds many secrets, but perhaps none as captivating as the legend of Atlantis. For thousands of years, stories have been told of a lost civilization, a place of unimaginable wealth, advanced technology, and powerful rulers, a utopia that thrived before vanishing without a trace. The tale of Atlantis did not come from folklore or a forgotten tribe. It came from one of the greatest thinkers in human history, the Greek philosopher Plato. In his writings over 2,000 years ago, he described an advanced island nation, a powerful empire that existed beyond the Pillars of Hercules. What he claimed next shocked the ancient world. He said that Atlantis had been destroyed in a single day and night of misfortune, swallowed by the ocean in a cataclysm so devastating that nothing remained. For centuries, scholars debated whether Atlantis was a real place or just a metaphor. Some believed Plato used the story to deliver a message about the rise and fall of civilizations. Others believed he was recording real history, a history lost beneath the sea. But now, new evidence is coming to light. Geologists, archaeologists, and researchers from around the world are uncovering strange clues, underwater ruins, ancient structures in unexpected places, even satellite imagery showing mysterious formations on the ocean floor, from the volcanic island of Santorini in Greece to the vast deserts of Mauritania in Africa. From deep-sea anomalies in the Atlantic Ocean to ancient texts that hint at an advanced maritime culture. Could Atlantis have truly existed? And if so, has it already been found? In this documentary, we will explore the origins of the Atlantis legend. We will examine the leading theories and the newest scientific discoveries. We will travel from ancient Greece to the Risha structure in the Sahara Desert, from Antarctica's icy coast to the ruins of Dwarka in India. And we will ask the question that still fascinates millions. Was Atlantis real? And if it was, where is it now? Prepare to go deep into one of the greatest mysteries in human history. This is the story of the lost city of Atlantis and the search that may finally reveal its location.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate.
Our journey into the legend of Atlantis begins not with explorers or scientists, but with a philosopher. In 360 BCE, the great Greek thinker Plato wrote two dialogues, Timaeus and Critias. These ancient texts were not fantasy novels or poetic tales. They were philosophical records written to teach and preserve knowledge. And within them, he described a place so astonishing it captured imaginations for over 2,000 years. Plato wrote that Atlantis was a massive island, located beyond the Pillars of Hercules, what we know today as the Strait of Gibraltar. He claimed this island was home to an incredibly advanced civilization, a society blessed with knowledge, military strength, and great wealth. According to Plato, the people of Atlantis built palaces, temples, and harbors using materials unknown to the rest of the world. Their capital city was perfectly designed in concentric circles of land and water. At its center stood a temple dedicated to Poseidon, the god of the sea. The Atlanteans were skilled engineers capable of manipulating water systems, mining precious metals, and building enormous walls and towers that stood higher than any known city at the time. Plato did not describe them as primitive or tribal. He described them as powerful, highly organized, a dominant naval force that ruled over parts of Europe and Africa. Their influence stretched far and wide, but their ambition would eventually become their downfall. He wrote that as the Atlanteans grew in power, they became greedy and corrupt. They turned away from virtue and sought to conquer more of the known world. This angered the gods, and as punishment, a great catastrophe was sent upon them. In a single day and night of misfortune, the island of Atlantis was struck by earthquakes and floods, and just like that, it sank beneath the ocean, lost forever. Many believe that Plato created this story to warn against pride and moral decay, but others Especially ancient scholars and later explorers took his account seriously. After all, Plato claimed the story came from even older Egyptian records passed down to the Greeks through the legendary lawmaker Solon. According to these sources, Atlantis existed 9,000 years before Plato's time. That would place its fall around 11,600 years ago, a time that interestingly aligns with the end of the last ice age. Could Plato have been preserving a memory of a real event? Could the story of a drowned civilization be more than a myth? To answer that question, we must turn to science and explore the places around the world that match his description. From ancient islands destroyed by volcanic eruptions to massive circular land formations visible from space, the search for Atlantis has taken us across continents, and some of the most compelling clues are hiding in plain sight. If Atlantis was once a real place, then where could it have been located? One of the most popular and scientifically backed theories points to the Aegean Sea, specifically the modern-day island of Santorini in Greece. But Santorini was not always the small, crescent-shaped island we see today. Thousands of years ago, it was a much larger island, and it was home to one of the most advanced civilizations of the ancient world, the Minoans. The Minoan civilization flourished on the nearby island of Crete and spread across the Aegean Sea around 4,000 years ago. They built complex cities, developed advanced plumbing systems, and were powerful traders with connections to Egypt, Mesopotamia, and the Mediterranean. The Minoans were peaceful, artistic, and highly sophisticated, but their greatest city was not on Crete. It was on the island we now call Santorini. Back then, it was known as Thera. Archaeologists discovered the ruins of this ancient city beneath layers of volcanic ash, a city frozen in time. Streets, buildings, and frescoes all preserved like a lost Pompeii. But the most shocking discovery was the reason it was buried. Around 1600 years before the birth of Christ, one of the most powerful volcanic eruptions in human history shook the region. The eruption of Thera was so massive it shattered the island, caused enormous tsunamis, and sent ash clouds across the world. It is believed that this eruption may have contributed to the sudden collapse of the Minoan civilization. Now let us look at the similarities with Plato's Atlantis. Plato described an island beyond the known world, a circular capital city surrounded by water, a civilization that vanished in a violent cataclysm. All of this matches what happened in Santorini. The city had a complex layout, it was surrounded by sea, and it was destroyed suddenly by a disaster involving fire and water. Even the timeline is intriguing. If we interpret Plato's 9,000 years as a mistranslation or symbolic number, it may align with the Minoan era, which would place the fall of this civilization around the same time he suggested. Some scholars argue that Solon, the Greek lawmaker who brought the Atlantis story from Egypt, may have misunderstood or miscalculated the timeline. Or perhaps the Egyptian priests who passed the story on were speaking symbolically, not literally. So is Santorini the real Atlantis? It matches many of the physical and cultural details. It was an advanced island society destroyed in a sudden disaster. The remains are still visible today, and the impact of the eruption was so great it changed the course of Mediterranean history. Yet, there is one problem. Plato said Atlantis was located beyond the Pillars of Hercules. That is the Strait of Gibraltar, the ancient boundary between the Mediterranean and the Atlantic Ocean. Santorini lies far inside this boundary, which leads some to believe that if Atlantis existed, it had to be somewhere else. And this is where the mystery takes a dramatic turn. Because far away in the Sahara Desert of Africa lies a strange formation that seems to fit Plato's description even more precisely. A place called the Eye of the Sahara, also known as the Rishat structure. In the vast emptiness of the Western Sahara Desert, deep in the country of Mauritania, lies a mysterious structure that can only be fully seen from space. A massive circular formation, shaped in perfect concentric rings. It is known today as the Richat structure, or more dramatically, the Eye of the Sahara. For decades, this geological wonder was believed to be nothing more than a natural formation, a product of erosion and time. But then researchers, satellite analysts, and independent explorers began to look closer. What they found left them stunned. The Richat structure is nearly 30 kilometers wide, a near-perfect ring pattern, 3 circular bands of land and water channels, just as Plato described in his writings. It is exactly the layout of Atlantis. But the location raises even more questions. Plato wrote that Atlantis was beyond the Pillars of Hercules. The Richat structure lies far west of them, in a place that may have been coastal or even underwater thousands of years ago. During the end of the last ice age, global sea levels were lower. The climate of the Sahara was not the dry desert it is today. It was lush, covered in grasslands, rivers, and lakes. This region was once referred to as the Green Sahara. Could a civilization have flourished here before being wiped away by rising sea levels and changing climates? Let us examine the details. Plato said that the central city of Atlantis had 3 main rings, 2 of land and 3 of water. He described a mountainous region to the north and a flat plain surrounding the city. The Richat structure matches these geographical features almost exactly. There are elevated ridges, a surrounding flat basin, and the same ring formation. Some researchers even claim to have found remnants of ancient roads, building foundations, and unusual artifacts in the surrounding area. These claims are still debated, but the idea that a sophisticated civilization could have existed in this region is not impossible. The Richat structure is so large and precise that it cannot be fully appreciated from the ground. Only from above can its perfect geometry be seen, something that aligns with ancient stories of godlike beings, or sky watchers, beings with knowledge of the land from a bird's eye view. And here is where the mystery deepens. Plato wrote that Atlantis was rich in metals, especially orichalcum, a legendary golden red metal of great value. In Mauritania, massive reserves of gold and other minerals have been found. It is a region with geological wealth hidden beneath the sands. The question then becomes, could a civilization have lived here over 11,000 years ago? Could it have been destroyed by a great flood, a series of earthquakes, or even something more cosmic? What if the Atlantis Plato described was not an island in the sea, but an island of civilization in the middle of a now lost inland ocean, an oasis swallowed by time and sand? This theory has gained millions of views on social media and inspired countless expeditions. Yet mainstream archaeology remains cautious. No definitive ruins have been uncovered. No written records link it directly to Atlantis. And no skeletal remains or cities have been excavated. But something about the Richat structure continues to attract attention. Its design, its isolation, its mystery, all seem to whisper that this place once held secrets now buried beneath the dust of time. And the most fascinating part is this. The Richat structure, unlike any underwater site, is still fully visible, waiting, almost inviting us to uncover its truth. Atlantis and Dwarka, could there be more than one lost civilization? What if the story of Atlantis is not unique? What if the world has seen many ancient civilizations that were lost to the seas, buried beneath time, and erased from memory? Atlantis may be the most famous thanks to Greek philosophers, but in the western coast of India, there lies another ancient legend, one that mirrors the Atlantis story in astonishing ways. It is the tale of Dwarka, the sacred city of Lord Krishna. For thousands of years, Indian scriptures have spoken of a divine city built with gold, gemstones, and unimaginable beauty. Dwarka was said to have been founded by Lord Krishna himself, a city of peace and prosperity, but also a city destined to vanish beneath the sea after the departure of its divine ruler. According to the Mahabharata and other Puranic texts, after the death of Krishna, Dwarka was swallowed by the ocean, not over centuries, but in a single dramatic event. The sea simply rose and consumed the city, just as Plato described Atlantis, a civilization destroyed by earthquakes and floods in a single day and night. But here is where legend meets science. In the early 2000s, marine archaeologists from India's National Institute of Ocean Technology and other agencies began deep-sea explorations near the coast of modern-day Dwarka in Gujarat. What they found stunned the world. Nearly 30 meters below the surface, sonar scans revealed geometric shapes, long straight walls, rectangular foundations, grid-like city planning, structures that do not occur naturally. Some dated back over 9,000 years. Divers recovered pottery, stone anchors, and even remnants of what could be dwellings. While skeptics debated the timeline and interpretations, many believe this could be physical proof of the lost city described in ancient texts. Dwarka, an underwater city, just as the scriptures claimed. Now let us compare Atlantis and Dwarka side by side. Both were coastal cities with divine or godlike founders. Both were advanced and powerful civilizations. Both were described as centers of wealth, trade, and spiritual importance. And both disappeared beneath the sea in cataclysmic events, remembered only through ancient stories until modern science began confirming parts of those legends. The biggest difference: Atlantis comes from Greek records and philosophical storytelling. Dwarka comes from deeply spiritual texts and religious memory passed through generations of oral and written tradition. Yet the parallels are undeniable. Could these two cities be connected? Some researchers suggest that ancient civilizations may have shared more knowledge than we once thought. Perhaps seafaring routes, lost continents, or a pre-ice age global culture spread across the planet. One that left behind traces in Egypt, India, South America, and even Antarctica. Or perhaps Atlantis and Dwarka are just two examples of many forgotten civilizations. Civilizations arose in harmony with nature, but were destroyed when the earth changed, through floods, volcanoes, pole shifts, or celestial events. The oceans hold more secrets than the land. Over 70% of Earth is covered in water, and less than 5% of the ocean floor has been fully explored. What else might lie beneath the waves? Atlantis and Dwarka are not just stories of ancient cities. They are warnings, reminders that even the greatest civilizations can vanish overnight. They push us to keep searching, to question history, and to open our minds to what may still be hidden beneath the surface of our world. Imagine this, a continent once lush with rivers, forests, and civilizations, now locked under miles of ice. Could Antarctica, the coldest, most remote place on Earth, be the true location of Atlantis? This may sound like pure fantasy, but over the last few decades, an unusual theory has gained traction among researchers, authors, and satellite analysts that Antarctica was not always frozen, and perhaps buried beneath its icy shell lie the ruins of an ancient, advanced civilization. Let's unravel this step by step. First, there's the Piri Reis map, drawn in 1513 by an Ottoman admiral. This ancient map, preserved in the Topkapi Palace in Istanbul, shows the coastlines of South America, Africa, and, surprisingly, a land mass at the bottom that resembles the shape of Antarctica. The most baffling part? It shows Antarctica without its ice. Mainstream historians argue that this must be coincidence, or the landmass is misinterpreted. But some geologists and cartographers suggest that the Piri Reis map aligns remarkably well with modern subglacial topography, the shape of Antarctica as it would appear if the ice were removed. How could a 16th century map maker know that? This brings us to the pole shift theory, the idea that Earth's entire crust can shift, moving continents rapidly into different climates. Not just tectonic drift over millions of years, but a sudden catastrophic crustal displacement. This theory was popularized by Charles Hapgood and later supported by none other than Albert Einstein. Hapgood proposed that around 12,000 years ago, the same time Atlantis was said to be destroyed, Earth's outer shell may have shifted dramatically. This movement could have placed Antarctica from a temperate climate into the freezing South Pole zone nearly overnight. If true, this would explain why ancient ice cores from Antarctica show signs of plant life, sudden freezing, and drastic climate shifts. And if Antarctica was once ice-free, could it have supported an advanced civilization, cities, ports, technologies lost to history? Some satellite images have sparked heated debates online. Geometric ridges, pyramid-like shapes, and odd heat signatures have been spotted beneath the ice by infrared sensors. In 2016, a leaked report from the Pentagon allegedly referred to anomalous structures found during Antarctic research missions. Though unconfirmed, it only added fuel to the mystery. Even Nazi Germany showed interest in Antarctica, launching secret missions in the 1930s to a region called New Swabia. Conspiracy theories claim they were searching for ancient knowledge or remnants of lost technology, possibly even Atlantis itself. Of course, mainstream scientists deny these claims, arguing that there is no hard evidence of human-built structures under the ice. But due to extreme cold and ice thickness, over 3 kilometers deep in some places, exploration is nearly impossible. What lies beneath is still largely unknown, and here lies the fascination. If Atlantis was real, if it was a global seafaring power, and if it was destroyed by a sudden climate or planetary event, wouldn't the perfect place to hide its ruins be Antarctica? The world's most inaccessible continent may be holding the truth, covered by time, guarded by ice, waiting for technology or courage to uncover it. In recent decades, the depths of the Atlantic Ocean have become the new frontier for explorers seeking Atlantis. Advanced sonar technology and deep-sea submersibles have revealed mysterious underwater structures that some believe are remnants of the lost city. One of the most famous discoveries is off the coast of Bimini in the Bahamas. In 1968, underwater explorer Dr. J. Manson Valentine found massive stone blocks arranged in straight lines. These formations, dubbed the Bimini Road, look like an ancient paved road or seawall. Some scientists argue that this is a natural limestone formation shaped by currents and erosion, but many researchers remain convinced it is evidence of a man-made structure. In 2000, a sonar survey by a team of researchers led by Dr. Paul Weinsweg found unusual rectangular shapes on the seabed near Cuba. The shapes appeared to be organized into a grid pattern, suggesting streets and buildings. These underwater anomalies are located near the area theorized to be part of the original Atlantis continent. Could these structures be remains of a sunken city, or are they simply natural formations misinterpreted by hopeful explorers? In 2018, a Chinese research vessel mapped the mid-Atlantic ridge using high-resolution sonar. The data revealed unexpected underwater plateaus and formations that could have been above water during the last ice age. Some hypothesize that the mid-Atlantic ridge could be part of Atlantis island foundations described by Plato. Despite these exciting discoveries, the ocean floor remains largely unexplored. With advances in autonomous underwater vehicles and sonar imaging, future expeditions may finally reveal definitive evidence. The mystery of Atlantis continues to fuel imagination and scientific inquiry alike. Every dive and scan brings us closer to uncovering secrets lost beneath the waves for thousands of years. As with many ancient mysteries, Atlantis has inspired theories beyond traditional archaeology. Some believe Atlantis was a civilization gifted with knowledge from otherworldly sources. One popular theory proposes that Atlanteans possessed advanced technologies far beyond what should have been possible at the time. Some speculate they had electricity, advanced metallurgy, and even energy weapons. Could these technologies have come from extraterrestrial visitors? Supporters point to ancient texts and artwork worldwide depicting beings descending from the sky or interacting with humans. The legend of Atlantis fits the narrative of a once great civilization that mysteriously vanished, possibly due to a loss or misuse of this advanced knowledge. The famous author Erich von Däniken popularized the idea of ancient astronauts visiting Earth and influencing civilizations, including Atlantis. Modern UFO enthusiasts often link underwater anomalies to alien bases or artifacts. Others believe Atlantis held esoteric wisdom, hidden spiritual knowledge, and science lost in the floods of time. The city is sometimes seen as a symbol of humanity's potential if we embrace harmony with nature and higher consciousness. The parallels with other lost civilizations such as Lemuria or Mu suggest a forgotten global culture of advanced understanding. Many believe that this knowledge may one day be rediscovered, helping humanity to avoid repeating past mistakes. Questioning and dreaming.